Alright friends, we're going to go over learning target 121, creating simple models to represent chemical concepts. This is a question you had on your Edge Elastic, and they asked you to create pie charts that represent the percent composition for each of these compounds. And so we'll start with aluminum hydroxide, AlOH3, and we're given the percent composition here. And what we've got to do is create a pie chart. And so what we want to do is take a look at these three percentages and decide how we're going to split up our circle. 62% is a little, significantly more than half. So I'm going to draw a section of this pie that starts like I'm going to do half, and then I'm going to take a little more than half. And so this red section could represent our oxygen. So I'll just highlight those edges in red and put oxygen there. If you colored it in, that's fine. I'm going to skip that part today. And then notice that hydrogen is 4%. That's a pretty small sliver of our pie. So I'm going to take this section to represent hydrogen. Put an H in there. And what's left should be, more than 1/4%, which we have more than 1/4% for aluminum at 34%. And so I'm going to take this section and use it with blue to represent that aluminum piece of my pie chart. Alright, excellent. So that's the first one. The second one we're going to do is for carbon dioxide. And this problem gives us the percent composition of carbon and oxygen here. Carbon is 27%, so that's a little more than 1/4 of this pie. So I'm going to create this, and I'm going to take, instead of doing just 1/4 of the pie and going straight across here, I'm going to just go a little bit at an angle. So that 27% there represents our carbon. That means the rest that's left over, 73%, should represent our oxygen. So right, a little less than 75% of this pie, a little less than 3/4 of our circle is left, and that represents our oxygen section. Oxygen is 73%. And then finally we've got Na2SO4, sodium sulfate. And that pie has 3 pieces. And let's take a look. Notice that oxygen is 45, a little less than half. Sulfur is 23, a little less than 1/4. And then we've got sodium at 33%. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the oxygen, and I'm going to take a little less than half of this pie. So that section right there would be a little less than half and give me a good approximation for 45%. And so that would be our oxygen section. 23% for sulfur would be a little less than 1/4. So here I can take a little less than 1/4. So come to this section, and then instead of going straight across, I'm going to go up at an angle. So it's less than 1/4. That's for our sulfur percentage. And then 33% sodium, we should have about 1/3 of the pie left, which we do. And so that could represent our sodium section of this pie, the sodium percentage at 33%. And so we're going to name that in A. Alright? Excellent.